Okay, the previous pages in the previous video listed those metric units that are used most often, such as the base unit, which could be meter, liter, or gram, depending if you're measuring length, volume, or weight. And then those units that are smaller than that, like for example the centimeter, which is 1/100th of the base unit, or the milli, which is 1/1000th of the base unit. Or we also talked about the kilometer, kiloliter, kilogram, which is 1,000 times bigger than the base unit. But to get a complete picture of the metric system, we'll need to fill in the missing units. Actually, the complete table is easier to deal with because all you need to remember is to move your decimal point 1 unit for each space you move. Now, here we go with this. This is the kilo, as in, let's say the base unit was meters. So this would be the kilometer, hectometer, decameter. Then here's your base unit. Let's say it's meter. Then the decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. Now, a good way to do problems is to list this going across here with the first letter of each thing. And a way to remember this could be, you could use this mnemonic device to help you remember. Kids hate doctors because doctors cost money. And that gives you the letter of each one. The B stands for the base unit, whether that be meters, liters, or grams. So let's go ahead and do one here. Convert 500 milliliters to liters. Okay, here's the base unit, liters. That's what we need to convert to. And here's what we're given. We have 500 milliliters. So I put the 500 here, and as I move to the left, I move the decimal point to the left. Right now on this 500, the decimal point is right here at the end of that 0. So if I move to the left, move the decimal point to the left. So 500 millimeters or milliliters is equal to 50 centiliters, 5 deciliters, and moving it over one more time be 0.5 liters. So that would be the answer to that problem. So you see how you move across, you keep on moving your decimal point to the left. Right now that decimal point is right there. I don't need to show that, but there it is. And of course I could add as many zeros as I needed to that 500. Then I move the decimal point one place to the left, give me 50. Then I moved it one decimal point to the left again, which made it 5.000. If you wanted to have all those zeros, again, that's not necessary. And then move it to the left again, which makes it 0.5. And again, you don't need all these zeros after the decimal point, but that shows how it moves the decimal point to the left as you move the left. And that's true if you make up this table going across here. And a good way to remember this again is kids hate doctors because doctors cost money. So let me take those zeros out of here. So you can see it really doesn't matter if you have those zeros after the decimal point. Okay, let's go to the next example. This next problem says convert 3.2 kilometers or kilometers to centimeters. Well, here's 3.2 kilometers, and I have to move it clear over to here. Well, now I'm moving to the right, and if I'm moving to the right, move your decimal point to the right. So here's your 3.2. Move it to the right one space. Here's 32. Right again makes 320, because this is really 32.0. So you can move it to the right, it gives you 320. Move to the right again, 3,200, then 32,000. And then here we are where we need to convert it to centimeters, and we get 320,000. Therefore, there are 320,000 centimeters and 3.2 kilometers. Here's another problem. Convert 0.045 kilograms to grams. Okay, so we got 0.045 kilograms, so here's my kilograms right here, and I need to convert it to grams. Grams is a base unit right here. So here's my 0.045, move it over one place, I got 0.45, move it again, 4.5, move it to the right again, 45. So 0.045 kilograms is equal to 45 grams. Here's another problem, convert 0.2 liters to cc's. Well, the base unit is liters, and we're actually given that there's 0.2 liters, so I'll put that right here in the middle. Now, convert it to cc's. Well, remember from the first video, a cc is the same as a milliliter. So 1 cubic centimeter, which is abbreviation for cubic centimeter, cc, is equal to a milliliter. So I need to move this 3 places to the right. So I need to move the decimal point 3 places to the right. So moving it one at a time, that would make it 2 here, 2 deciliters. Move it to the right again, 20 centiliters, and 200 milliliters or cc's. So there are 200 cc's and 0.2 liters. Also, you could say there's 200 milliliters in 0.2 liters, since a milliliter and a cc are the same thing. Here's another problem. Convert 5 milligrams to micrograms. Okay, well, here's the base unit, which is going to be grams in this case, and we got our stuff to the left. The kids hate doctors because, okay, so the kilo, hecto, and deca right there. And then because doctors cost money, deci, centa, and milli, okay. And now micrograms is 3 digits farther to the right. So we got to move it, and move it again. And because there are 1,000 micrograms in a milligram, we have to move it 3 more places over here to the right. So we're converting 5 milligrams right here to micrograms, which are extremely small. So we moving, as we move to the right, we move our decimal point to the right. So move it 1 place, that gives me 50, then 500, and 1 more, 5,000. So really you just have to multiply the milli by 1,000 to get how many micrograms that is. So there are 5,000 micrograms in 5 milligrams. The same type of system is used actually to convert with volts and using electricity here. A volt could be thought of as a base unit. And if you have 110 volts, how many kilovolts is that equal to? So we'd actually have to move the decimal point to the left 3 places, and it would be equal to 0.11 kilovolts. 220 volts would equal, move it 3 places to the left, 0.22 volts. 78 kilovolts is equal to how many volts? Well, now we're moving to the left on the metric system, and that would be, add 3 zeros to that, 78,000. Same thing is true with watts and kilowatts. 1,500 watts is equal to how many kilowatts? Well, move the decimal point 3 places to the left, and you get 1.5 kilowatts. And again, the reason why we're moving things to the left or to the right is because we're thinking of this picture right here, where here's the base unit, but in this case it's volts or watts, and we're dealing with over here kilowatts. So when we switch from kilowatts to watts, we're moving 3 places to the right, and when we're switching watts to kilowatts, we're moving 3 places to the left. So again, here's one. Convert 780 watts to how many kilowatts? Well, here's 780 watts, the base units. Now we got to go 3 places to the left, so you would have to move the decimal point 3 places to the left, giving you 0.78 kilowatts. And if you had 2.5 kilowatts right here, we need to convert that to watts, so we need to move it 3 places to the right. Move the decimal point 3 places to the right, and we get 2,500 kilowatts. Or sorry, 2,500 watts. Here's another base unit that you could see sometimes dealing with electricity, and that's amps. It says convert 75 amps to milliamperes. Well, milliamps. But either way, we're going to 75 amps. Amps is thought as the base unit, and we're switching it to milliamps. So since we're moving to the right, you move the decimal to the right 3 places, and that would be equal to 75,000 milliamps. How about 150 amps to milliamps? Well, move it to the right 3 places. You get 150,000, and this to amps would be 600,000. Here we're supposed to see which metric unit would be the best to measure these things. Well, the weight of a baby, you could measure that in grams or kilograms. It's similar to like pounds and ounces. Head circumference, well, that would be measured, it's a length, or a circumference is a measurement of distance, so you would use millimeters or centimeters or meters. Probably centimeters would be a good one to use. Body surface area, well, area would be square units, like square inches, but in the metric system might be square centimeters. The amount of liquid in a medication, well, the amount of liquid would be liters or milliliters or cc. Probably milliliters or cc's, which mean the same thing, would be the one used for liquid in a medication, but liter would be the base unit. The amount of a solid medication would be measured in grams. Okay, so many grams or maybe milligrams. The distance between Old Town and Flintstone, well, that would be measured in the English system in miles, in the metric system kilometers. The amount of nitroglycerin, well, if nitroglycerin is a liquid, which I believe it is, you don't need very much of that, so that would be somewhere in the liter area, but maybe it might be milliliter. Or if it's a solid, it could be grams, milligrams, or maybe if you only needed a very little bit of this, it might be measured in micrograms. And the amount of area in a bedroom, well, area again is square units, so that could be like square feet, square centimeters, square meters. If we're dealing with a metric system, you might measure it in square meters. And here's a few leftover conversion problems if you want to convert these all the way across. Like, for example, 1 meter would be 10 decimeters, or 100 centimeters, or 1,000 millimeters. And when you move to the left, move your decimal point to the left, so it would be 0.1 decameters, 0.01 hectometers, and 0.001 kilometers. If we start off with kilograms, we move into the right, we'll move the decimal point to the right. So 2.3 kilograms is equal to 23 hectograms, 230 decagrams, 2,300 grams. Then we just keep on going. It'll be 23,000 decigrams, 230,000 centigrams, and 2,300,000 milligrams. And that's how you would do these. You just move the decimal point to the left as you move to the left, and move it to the right when you move to the right. For example, this would be 500 here, and this would be over here on this side a 5, then over here a 0.5, and you can continue that out. Here we'd be moving to the left. So here's a decimal point at 200. Moving to the left, we would have 20, and then a 2 in the next area, and then a 0.2 over here. Same thing, a cc is the same as a milliliter, so we would have 5 centiliters right here, 0.5 deciliters, and 0.05 liters right there. Okay, and then 5 grams, move it to the right, be like 50, 500, 5,000 milligrams. Let's scroll down and take a look at a couple more down here. Switching ones that deal with grams, here's the base unit grams, so moving this to the right, we would have 70 decigrams, 700 centigrams, 7,000 milligrams. And if you keep moving this all the way across, you'd end up with 7 million right here in this area. And if you're moving to the left, let's say 700 micrograms, well, that would be 70 here, and we really don't need to know the name for this digit, this unit here. We need to move it one more time here, and now we're to milligrams, which would be 0.7. And then you can keep on moving across, and by the time you get here, let's do it a second, 0.07, 0.007, and here would be 0.0007. So 700 micrograms is equal to 7 10,000ths of a gram. And that would be 10 thousandths because here's the tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths, and here's 10 thousandths place. And hopefully we moved those decimal point correctly, and I think we did there, and that would be correct. And you can keep on moving across, but it gets ridiculous after a bit. Just answer the following here. 500 milliliters is the same as 500 cubic centimeters. And how many liters would that equal to? Well, that's moving it 3 places to the left, so that would be 0.5 liters. And moving it 3 more places to the left to get to kiloliters would be 0.0005 kiloliters. Okay. 5.2 grams is equal to how many milligrams? Well, that's moving it to the right 3 places, so that would be 5200. How many micrograms would that be? Well, that's to the right 3 more places, so that's 5,200,000. And how many kilograms would that equal? Well, that's moving at the opposite direction. That's moving to the left 3 places, so we'd have 0.0052, moving the decimal point 3 places to the left. A lot of people feel that you should put a 0 on the left side of that decimal point so that the decimal point shows up good. So it would be 0.0052. 5.2 grams to micrograms, you'd have to move the decimal point 6 places to the right. And then centimeters to millimeters, well, that's equal to 5,000 millimeters. So right here would be 5,000 millimeters. Converting that to meters, well, 500 centimeters to meters, move the decimal point 2 places to the left, and that would be 5 meters. And how many kilometers would that equal? Move it the decimal point, let's see, let's go from meters, move it 3 places to the left, and I would have 0.005 kilometers. And that should do it.